Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bold Unstoppable Show. Now, you all know that this is a show for women, about women, where we discuss issues that we women face in today's society. I am Rochel Marie Lawson, known as the Queen of Feeling Fabulous. And in a world where connections can be fleeting and sometimes the deep relationships we have also can be fleeting. The art of building solid, lasting relationships becomes a cornerstone, not only for professional growth, but also for personal growth. And the Bold Unstoppable Woman show proudly presents a very heartfelt panel discussion on keys to building solid relationships for women like us who are bold and unstoppable. This conversation will dive into the heart of what it means to cultivate relationships that not only endure, but also empower. As bold, unstoppable women, our journeys are enriched by the bonds we forge with peers, mentors, family, and communities. These connections fuel our aspirations, they support our dreams, and provide us solace in challenging times. Yet, in the hustle of achieving and inspiring, how do we ensure that our relationships remain strong, that they remain supportive, and that they remain meaningful? So, join us as we explore the nuances of relationship building, particularly around women and among bold, unstoppable women like the four of us, from maintaining authenticity and vulnerability to fostering mutual respect and understanding. My distinguished panelists today will share their insights, their experiences, and strategies, illuminating the paths to relationships that uplift and sustain us, even as we strive to change the world, to make it a better place, like bold, unstoppable women do. So today I have Dr. Rosie Ward, I have Dr. Deborah, and I have Whitney Elkins-Hutten. And so I'm going to start with Dr. Rosie. Dr. Rosie, tell us a little bit about yourself and give us some goods, girl.
I love give the goods. One, I love being with bold women. I love being with bold, badass women. I have badass sparkly necklace. I don't know if you can see
Oh,
it, but it's
girl,
my favorite necklace in the
one
world.
of those.
So one, my favorite color is sparkle. It is a color, but I am more seriously, I am the CEO and founder of Salveo Partners. We are a consultancy firm that focuses on rehumanizing workplaces and really equipping leaders and teams to navigate a world of change and disruption with authenticity, with their full humanness, and not dimming their sparkle and not hiding who they are. So I'm obsessed with normalizing the messiness of being human. And I think the more chaotic our world gets, the more we get triggered to not show up as who we are, to not step into our greatness, to shrink and get small and all the types of things, or show up in overcompensating ways that are just not helpful. And so the work we do is really helping people truly own what it means to be human and to create awesome teams and workplaces where people can do that so that it's a win-win.
So basically, being bold and unstoppable.
Yeah,
Hey,
I mean, that's why I'm here. I love it. I love it.
hey. All right. Thank you, Dr. Rosie. Now, our next esteemed panelist is Dr. Deborah.
Well, I'm the CEO of Resound, but my brand is She Roars Boldly. And yeah. And what I do is I help women to dramatically speak, women that want to go out speaking. I've had about 20 years in drama, and I finally found my niche, which is what I've been doing all along, is teaching people how to present themselves, their products, in a way that is fun. Yeah, fun. Drama can be a lot of fun. I have lightsabers. I have we can have a lot of fun when we speak. We don't have to be all that serious. And though I talk about a lot of serious stuff, because I also empower women to understand that the messages that they had in the past do not have to affect their future, that we can stare our past in the eyes and take it down.
I love it. Well, that's Dr. Deborah. Now we have Miss Whitney Elkins-Hutten.
Well, thank you guys for having me on. I feel like I'm in the partnership of greatness here. I too am a doctor. I'm a PhD. So I figure I feel like I should change my name. Like I'm just kind of like,
Yeah.
but yeah, so my doctorate is in nutrition. I do real estate now. I'm the author of Money for Tomorrow: How to Build and Protect Generational Wealth with Bigger Pockets. I'm also the director of investor education at passiveinvesting.com and the founder of Ash Wealth. The through line through all of those endeavors is that I help women and families understand how to become unstoppable investors. And so build your fortified financial foundation, learn how to keep as much money as possible so you can grow as much money as possible and pass on as much money as possible. For me, I truly believe it's not the lack of financial education, but the lack of financial capability, that's the real public health problem that we're wrestling right now. If people really understood how money works and knew all the different ways that they could to protect themselves and grow a portfolio for themselves, we would alleviate so many hardships that we're seeing in the world today. Anyways, that's what I do. And so I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. We have brilliant minds with us, and it's so funny because we all have synergy. I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. Yes, I'm a mess, but getting back serious, it's beautiful to have you. You three are really bold, unstoppable women. I know Dr. Deborah because she's spoken at my events around the country, and what she does bring is lightheartedness and some very serious things and serious topics that we bold, unstoppable women have to face. And I love Whitney. Whitney, I'm a real estate broker in the state of California. So, you got to have that side hustle to get money, right? These 7 streams of income so you can leave generational wealth, which, we women aren't necessarily taught that. We have to learn it. And then Dr. Rosie, I love all things sparkle. Girl, we need to.
I do too.
We need to get together and just have like Zoom cocktails or something.
Look at my water bottle. See?
Oh, girl, look. You can't see mine, but mine says dream big, right? And usually if you catch me on the podcast, I have my crown on that's all sparkly, one of the crowns. So let me get to the topic of today. So, we're talking about this really important thing that has been monumental for me as a multi-successful woman entrepreneur, and is building solid relationships. And so with regards, the first question I want to put out to the panelists, and you can, whoever wants to take the question first, that's fine. But the first question I want to ask you all is, in your experience, how do relationships contribute to personal and professional growth for bold, unstoppable women? And then the second part of that question is, what ways can we actively foster growth in these types of relationships? Who wants to take that?
Well, okay, I'll take a stab. Like for me, I am the product of a 60s, 70s feminist mother. And honestly, what was I taught to do? Not to do it all on your own, right? You have to go to school, get a good job. That way you can contribute to your retirement, start a family, and do it all on your own because you're a woman and you can. I think the valuable lesson that was missing for me there, and especially as I got into real estate, was learning that it's not the how, but the who. In that, I can be very capable. I can be very resourceful, but it's my resourcefulness that is going to allow me to grow my business, grow my real estate portfolio, grow my fulfillment in my life. And so I think for me, I'm sure there's women that are listening to this that are going, oh my gosh, ding, ding, that's me. That was my mom. And now I'm having to figure out how to unravel that a little bit and be able to flex these muscles to where I can build, more readily relationships to where, the networking is not a dirty word,
Right.
but it's really about relationship building. And so I've got a lot more to say on this, but I'll kind of pass
Girl,
it
we
to
got more questions. Don't worry. Dr.
Well,
Rosie or Dr. Deborah, do you want to
yeah,
add?
well, I have to, well, and I love it's maybe we have the same mom. I don't know, but no.
I think all three. I think maybe all three of us. Maybe Dr. Deborah does too.
Well, and here's the thing is what I appreciate about, having a strong mother, yes, she did instill in me to work hard, et cetera. But the flip side of that, and this gets into, I think, Dr. Deborah, there's probably a lot of synergy with our work, but what I know about myself, and I've learned in the work that I have to keep doing when my humanity gets the best of me, because I always say, just because I facilitate this stuff, make no mistake, it's because like these are tools that I also use because I'm a human being. And here's the thing is that I think part of what I learned was that independent, get stuff done, etc. And so what I always say is when my humanity hijacks me, I get into hyper independent, hyper productive, pain in the ass, get stuff done mode. And what happens is I get heads down, just bulldoze, task focus, take on more than I can handle. And then I get overwhelmed. And when people in my network and relationships try to offer help or reach out, I'm like, nope, I got it. And then I get resentful and it's a vicious cycle. And so, but I think knowing that about yourself, it's like, oh, what are those early warning signs and triggers? And I share all that because going back to your question about the power of relationships, we are neurobiologically hardwired to be in connection with other people. We are a social species. We are not meant to go this alone. And here's the thing, nobody can know everything. No one can do it all. And so if we think because we need someone in our business to do XYZ or someone in our life to do XYZ, it doesn't mean that we're less than, it doesn't mean that somehow we failed. It's everyone's got their gifts and talents, but we also have a finite amount of energy and capacity. And so when we learn how to leverage one another in not in a manipulative using people way, but to your point, Whitney, it's authentic relationships. And it's, hey, I'm genuinely interested in you. And this is not Mean Girls. Like Regina, this is not, Regina George. This is like, we lift each other up and we support one another and go, oh, I might know somebody who here. And it's like, and then what I love is when people are like, what can I do for you? And it's authentic. And that's the type of relationship building. And if we think that there's something wrong with us or we're above it, it's going to be a lonely road in so many ways.
Oh my goodness. Yes, I agree with you. And I'll add some to that, but I want Dr. Deborah to give us her take on that as well.
Yeah, well, she said it. Okay. No, that's actually what I talk on. Rochel saw my superhero speech and I didn't have the lightsabers then, but yeah, it's what I talk about is building our own superpower teams. Of course, our superpowers are our gifts and our talents. And we really only have 1, 2, 3. And if I go around like forever, women are acting like we feel like we have to know it all and be it all. And we can't say, well, I can't do that. Somebody asks you to do something. Yeah, run the bazaar. I don't know how to do that. So you're Googling how to do it. Instead, just say, no, this isn't my gift. This is not what I like to do, but I can keep your books for you. Right. I can count the money. It's okay to tell other people that you're not perfect and join with other people, because that's when we develop our superhero teams and we start to change the world together. I take my power with your power and your power and your power, and together we join, we form an illusion. We have that interconnection that us women need. And instead of backbiting each other, we work together to just do amazing things.
I love it. I love this. I know Dr. Rosie and Whitney, I'm not sure how much you know about me, but with regards to this question or experience about how do relationships contribute to personal and professional growth for Bold, Unstoppable Woman, I was that girl that was always surrounded by boys, and I'm really comfortable with guys, but when I started my first business, my telecommunications installation company, I'm used to just getting stuff done. So I hunker in and I just did get it done. And I can be very social, but I can be very introverted as well. And so what I realized in the context of that business as a 21, 22-year-old girl starting a business and didn't know how to do it, that there was a lot that I didn't know. And in order for me to be able to have a business that I could build and sustain and grow, I needed to connect with women that were doing that. And because my business was in a male dominated industry, I didn't want to connect with men because they would have been like, oh, little girl, or, coming at me some other different kind of way that I wasn't really interested in. And so when I realized that I needed to connect with other women that were entrepreneurs, things began to change for me astronomically. And what I experienced was that these women that wanted to help me truly wanted to help me, not want something from me, not to see what they can do to maneuver to get from me. They really wanted to help me. And it became such a valuable experience for me that it really fostered really deep relationships that I still have 30 something years later with these women. Now, some of these women are, old enough to be my mother, maybe even my grandmother. Some of them may not even still be living, but the fact that I was able to connect with women on a level that just wanted to see me succeed was something I had never experienced. And I am a bold, unstoppable chick. If you tell me no, I'm not gonna say, watch me do it. I'm just gonna let you watch me do it. And so it becomes really important for us to surround ourselves with women that are like-minded, but also can see and help us where we are vulnerable and where we may not know we need the help. And so this leads into the next question for the panelists is, maintaining authenticity and vulnerability can be challenging. And we all know, we all have been around people that are fake. We all know. But how do you begin to balance being open with protecting your energy, especially in a professional setting, and keeping away the energy vampires at bay? Who wants to take that? I'll let you, Dr. Rosie, take that first.
Oh my God, I love this question. Okay, so here's the thing is I think that if I go back to us if I shorthand it, us being our authentic selves is letting our sparkle shine, whatever that is. But we also have to recognize that and this is not about dimming our sparkle, but we can't be so much that we dim someone else's, right? We have to hold space for other people. And I think that's really, really key. And here's the thing, us being our authentic self might say, you know what, say to my team, everyone bear with me. I am totally on the struggle bus today. So just, or I didn't get a lot of sleep, or I'm heads down, I'm a little overwhelmed. And so I think that we have to create space to just check in and say, some days we're having a good day, some days we're not. And I think we also have to be very cognizant that being vulnerable is not falling apart and going, oh my God, like that's just oversharing without boundaries. That's not vulnerability. Vulnerability fundamentally is not tapping out of tough conversations. Vulnerability is leaning in when it's uncertain, when there's risk, and when we're feeling emotionally exposed, that we choose courage over comfort and we don't tap out of the tough stuff. And so that takes a lot of, you have to have relationships. You have to have other people who see the best in you and can shine that light on you when you're feeling small. You have to be able to communicate to people to say, I need my space today, or I messed that up, or I'm not ready to have this conversation today. I think us being authentic is we have to know ourselves. We have to know not just, who we are at our best. We also have to know the ugly stuff that's like, oh yeah, like there I go again. We have to know what makes us tick. We have to know what triggers us so that we can care for all of us and go, today, this is what I need to have the impact I want to have in the world. And I can't do that if I haven't done a whole bunch of work on myself, but I also can't do that if I haven't created a safe space on my team and I'm not communicating with them to just say, you know what, this is not a great day, or you know what, bear with me today, whatever it might be.
I love it. I love it. So being okay to be vulnerable and sharing your vulnerability with those around you that may be part of your team, your network, your support group, your professional kumbaya chicks, whatever that may be. Sometimes
and I think it's so critical. Well, yeah, and I think it's so critical. I just had one more thing, and then let my other fabulous colleagues share. But here's the thing: is that we see ourselves in other people's stories, and we see ourselves in other people's humanity and struggle. And when we're in that place of feeling vulnerable, it's like the last thing we want to show people, but it's the first thing we look for in others. And so we have to recognize that, if we're willing to be just real, and again, we don't have to go into all the details, but just whatever it is, be real about, I don't know the answer here. I need help here. I screwed up here, whatever that might be. It makes us relatable to other people. Like I said, I don't remotely just because it doesn't matter that we have doctorate degrees, it doesn't matter that we teach this stuff. We're a human being first and foremost, and I screw this crap up all the time. But then I have tools to get me back in alignment and make amends. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, oh my God, that was a lot, and it was beautiful because one thing you kind of brought to mind for me is, we all go to the doctor, and you'll see the doctor that's telling people, you need to do this, you need to exercise more, you need to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, you need to get away from your desk, you need to watch your mindset, you need to blah, 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 blah. If they're stressed, they're overweight, they have high blood pressure, they're pre-diabetic or suffering from diabetes. You don't know that, but looking at them, you're like, wait a minute, I need to lose weight. You need to lose weight. You know what I mean? But it's okay to be vulnerable and share, like, you know what? I'm struggling with the weight loss thing, and I see you are too, or, hey, I'm in bitch mode today, which is actually being intelligent, talented, compassionate, and healthy. But, in the other way that people are beautiful, intelligent, talented, compassionate, or being in total control of herself. But if you let people know that, then they can navigate better. It's when we don't allow ourselves to be vulnerable that we get into, I want to say, the pits of hell, because we will lash out. We, get super protective. We put barriers up, and then that comes across to other people that women particularly, I'm gonna say bold, unstoppable women, like, I ain't got time for her. She's too much work. She's a mess, or whatever it is. And so they will shy away from you. So I love what you said, Dr. Rosie. Dr. Deborah, Whitney, do you have anything you want to share with regards to the whole vulnerability?
Well, I really loved a couple of things that you said, particularly, checking in. We got to check in with people we work with and not just assume that they're okay.
Right.
You got to have those conversations and listen. Don't just say, hey, how you doing today? We all say that, but do you really mean it? Let's say, how you doing today? And stop and look at them and let them, you'll see it in their eyes. I love that you said interested too, because I really think being really interested in what somebody else is feeling or going through is so important. They'll know if you're faking it.
Yeah.
And what little time does that take to really listen to someone and really hear what they're saying?
Right.
And you're right, not just come in and go, hey, you need to lose weight. I have this great diet plan, but,
right.
but like you said, relate to them, whatever their problem is. Listen, you may not be able to totally relate, but you can listen, you can care, you can ask educated questions.
Right.
Because that's how we do, that's how you build relationships. And I see a lot more of that out there than there used to be. When I speak at conferences, I do see women actually relating to each other. I talked to one woman at the conference I was in New York last weekend. She's going, oh, women will never get together. They all want to backbite. And I said, well, I'm not really seeing that right now. And I'm not seeing it in this room. I see a lot of supportiveness and backing each other. So I think we're getting more and more there, maybe because we feel so isolated because we're trying to grow who we are. And we need that too.
Oh, I love it. Wise words of wisdom, and I'm not going to add any more to that because I think both of you, Dr. Rosie, and you, Dr. Deborah, really summed up some really, really key points. And so now I want to ask about building trust. Trust is a foundational element of any strong relationship, and without it, you're walking on eggshells, basically, in your relationship, no matter if it's with your spouse or your team or people you do business with, or your people that you bold, inseparable women that you network with. But what are strategies that you found effective for building trust within your personal and professional circles? And Whitney, I'm going to throw this one at you first.
Oh, well, I think this ties in really well with what we were talking about, just in our last segment. I mean, what builds trust is authenticity, vulnerability, and, genuine curiosity. And, so kind of like what, Dr. Deborah was saying, like, hey, can we just have like a connecting conversation, look each other in the eyes and be real, right? Without all the pretenses. But, the problem that, I think where trust gets elusive is that as we live our day-to-day lives, and this is everybody, not just women, we are living in an alternate reality, every single one of us, because we are taking in data and we are creating and formulating our own stories. And when that finally hit me, like about a decade ago, when watching my daughter, grow up, I'm like, how did we hear the exact same thing? It's like the worst game of telephone. Like, how did we hear the exact same thing? And she took it one way, I took it the other way. Like, she's a teenager, preteen now. Still happens. Still happens a lot. I'm like, I'll say something to her, she'd be like, fly off the handle. I'm like, oh my, I said, you're beautiful today. Like, what happened? Like,
Right.
But we take in this information, we filter it through our own filters, our belief systems that were instilled in us, that we've grown up with, that we've altered and taken on ourselves. And sometimes that can impact how curious we are with other people. It can, impact just how vulnerable we're going to be with other people. And if we can't be curious and vulnerable, if we can't communicate that clearly, we're going to draw some unclear boundaries. And if we're drawing unclear boundaries, even with ourselves or with others, the trust isn't going to be able to be built, because, I can't take what Dr. Rosie said at face value. She didn't clearly state what her emotion was. Whatever happened, what her emotion was to it, and what she needs me to do to correct it, right? So I think, when we come to building trust, learning how to flex this muscle and establish healthy boundaries, things that aren't too flexible, aren't too rigid, and being able to communicate those with the authenticity and curiosity. That's a lot to impact. I mean, nobody's going to be able to rewind that 5 minutes and like, oh, yep, check. I got my checklist on how to execute this. So I will leave you with a resource. There's an amazing book called Boundary Boss by Dr. Terry Cole. I just give him, on the panel, Dr. Rosie's work. I'm sure she's very familiar with Dr. Cole's work. But, it's very similar, the through line in a lot of these like personal development books. How can we establish healthy boundaries? Because when we can do that, it's going to be a lot easier for me to take at face value and know what you're putting out in the world is real. And I don't have to take it through one of my filters, so to speak.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Trust is key in a relationship. And we all have experience where, we've trusted people and they have violated our trust, and it feels really icky. And particularly in the professional circles, that can happen as well. Like, we have girlfriends and stuff. They may violate his trust. We can talk to them, girl, look, cuss them out, whatever we need to do. But it's a different type of relationship. But in the professional arena, it becomes a little icky and sticky, particularly if you're in a networking organization where you're going to see this person all the time who's violated trust. And so I think Whitney, you said some wonderful things with regard to just the authenticity, once again, is key to having, and just knowing we all have those, I don't know what to call them, but those filters, but not necessarily filters. They are gauges. We all have those gauges where we can intuitively pick up on people. And of course, everyone's not going to be for us. So if you pick up that vibe that, well, I don't know. That's the reticular activating system. Woo! I pulled that up. Woo! Your reticular activating system letting you know that you maybe better pass on this chick and go just keep going about your business, right? Because something's not right. And I'm here to warn you and let you know something's off. So move on. So I love this conversation because as women, we can be some catty chicks, and in the professional world, it happens because sometimes people are really cutthroat and they want to succeed. But here's one thing I want to say is no woman has to be cutthroat in the world of business or personal life, because no one can do what you do like you do it, how you do it. And, you know, if that's the case, we'd all be having sex the same exact way. And we don't. See, if they wasn't listening, they listening now. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, I love these conversations. Now, okay, I want to move into communication styles. Effective communication is key to any relationship, but we know that. And if the more honest and open you can be, the better it is for both people in the relationship. But how, as bold, unstoppable women, do we navigate different communication styles to ensure that we have clarity, understanding, and particularly in the high stakes or high stress environments that we all four play in? Dr. Deborah, let's start with you, girl.
Well, actually, it's funny because I was just at an international conference. So I met people from France and Lithuania and Spain. And I actually found out we were pretty similar people, you know. I think the big thing is stopping and listening. When you meet somebody new, listen to them. And then you can get some keys on how maybe you can come into that conversation. Because you don't know all the things that they believe. And even, you know, when they're from overseas, they have different cultures. So start listening to them before you start communicating. And be interested. Ask questions. I know I asked so many questions like, oh, really? You're from Barcelona? I love that place. You know, can you tell me what it's like being there? You know, ask questions because I love to learn from other people. And if you have an honest wanting to learn from them, they'll start asking you questions and you can start building that relationship.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Dr. Rosie, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Well, yeah, because I think I love everything Dr. Deborah said, you know, from a networking standpoint, and with any relationship, it always starts with listening and listening to understand and being fully present. And you had talked about though, like the high stakes. And so I'm thinking about like at the workplace or whatnot, where, you know, things are high stake and emotions are high. And this is going to kind of go back to the beginning of, we have to know ourselves and know that if I am feeling jacked up, that is not a time to actually be having any kind of conversation. I need to go care for that. I always say like you need to be at a place of neutral or above before you're going to have any kind of important conversation. And then I think, you know, when we're addressing it, it is to Whitney's point, in the absence of data, our brains filled in with stories. So if the stakes are high, we have to own, okay, this is a story I'm telling myself, but I'm going to own it's a story, and I'm going to go with curiosity and check out what part of my story is true, or be open to the fact that none of it might be true. And so I think if we go in with this curiosity of, hey, you know, but I want to talk about XYZ, here's the story I'm making up about that, or here's the story I'm telling myself, the person can go, no, that's not true. Or, hey, the story I'm telling myself is you're pissed off about something. And the story I'm telling myself is like, we're not okay here, or this, you know, can we talk about that? And now you've at least put it on the table and you can lean in, versus the, you know, beating around the bush or coming in attacking. You know, if you're familiar with Kim Scott's, you know, it's really operating from a place of radical candor of, I care personally enough to challenge you directly, but I'm also going in with curiosity and I'm owning my own stuff, and I'm not going to do it if I'm not in a good spot. So I would just add that on top of, there's the great when we're networking, and we have to listen when the stakes are high, and we've got to know when to put it on pause when we're not ready to have that conversation. We're so don't go to bed mad. No, go to bed mad, hit the pause button, and when you're in a better spot, address whatever the issue is, because it's not going to be pretty, because it's just going to be this. Yeah.
Whoa, that's $1,000 tip right there. You know, $1,000 tip. You know, they say you should never go to bed mad, but sometimes you need to go to bed mad, because in that process you will always saying some stuff that you can't take back. Once it's out there, it's out there. You can't take it back. So, okay, last question, and we're going over a little bit, ladies, but I think this is important. I have several more questions, but we have time for one more. And this one is handling conflict. You know, conflict is a natural part of any relationship. And Dr. Rosie just kind of led us segue into this, because I would like either all of you or one of you, or however many of you guys want to address this, but can you share strategies for addressing and resolving conflicts in a way that strengthens the relationship rather than strain the relationship? And this particularly is dealing with other bold, unstoppable women. Who wants to go? Whitney?
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm by no means the educated professor on this or anything, but, you know, just in my, having, done work for myself, on myself, in order to be a better partner, a better wife, a better mother, to build better relationships. For me, I had to learn how to, not bulldoze people in a conversation. How do I get my needs met without, amping or raising up the temperature? And I'll offer, the skills that I use is, first, kind of like going back to what Dr. Rosie said, if I'm about to have a high stakes conversation, I will immediately think to myself, and if you've had babies, you know what I'm talking about. Do I need food? Do I need water? Do I need sleep? Do I need to go change my pants? Okay, I don't change my diaper, but I still throw that in there, and like, meaning, do I need to like leave the room, go to the bathroom, take 5 minutes? Because nobody can argue with that when you say, I have to go to the bathroom. Nobody's going to tell you no, right? Okay.
Right.
So once I've done that, now I can come back to the conversation, and I'm stating 3 things very clearly. 1, when this happened, don't be general about it. Like, when you said this, when this happened, when you broke my vase, I felt X. So you state, when this happened, I felt this, and then make your request. Like, my request is that we don't horseplay in the house, or my request is that that we don't interrupt each other in a meeting. And then allow the pause to happen. And so what you did is you revealed what is upsetting you, what is the conflict, what is angering you, or the emotion that you've attached to it. And then what exactly you need. Here's the the person can now have an opportunity to be like, oh my gosh, that's not what I meant. Or you misheard me. Or, oh, well, okay, I see that. And, there was another intrusion on the other side. May I make my reveal and request? And now you can have you've turned the temperature down on the conversation, and you're talking more about facts in your own stories and not projecting your story on another person.
Oh man, I don't have a mic, but we're going to do a mic drop right now, because I do have a mic, but I don't want to drop it because I'll probably break it.
We have the same pen.
My mic is on my phone. There you go, but I'm not going to drop my phone.
Oh, girl. Dr. Rosie, are you my sister from another mother?
I think I might be. I'm like, wait, we have the same pen.
Check this out. My mother's name is Rose, and they call her Rose. Her name is Rochel Marie, and all her friends would call her Rosie. So, whew, this is good. I got a sister from another mother up north. But Whitney, what you said was powerful, because one, I like taking a few moments, step back, and if you have to go to the bathroom and fake it, you just have to go, right? Because you pull yourself away. I tend to be super emotional, and my tongue could cut you like, a razor. So I have to be really cognizant, because I'm full of fire, and I don't sugarcoat things. So I have to, over these last 29 years, I have had to really hone in on not being laser sharp with my tongue. I always say blame it on the Sicilian, but not being laser sharp with my tongue, and then taking a step back. And what you said, Whitney, Dr. Whitney, what you said was amazingly powerful, because in no matter what situation, is it with your kids, your spouse, your employees, or a colleague, or somebody you're doing business with, that was golden. That was golden, because it will take you out of the situation for a moment, where you can regroup your thoughts and get your emotions in check and all of that. And then you can have a really productive, engaging dialogue and go forward with a lot more confidence and a lot more ease and grace, and being still that bold, unstoppable woman in your 5-inch heels, walking like Naomi Campbell down the runway, but still being able to do it with grace and confidence, and know that you didn't take that heel and jam it in her throat. You like you really wanted to do at the beginning. You were able to come together and simulate some semblance and keep going forward. So I love this. I love this conversation. I love all of you for being a part and sharing your wisdom today, because I think the wisdom we share is impactful, and it will help somebody, and many people. We may never know who the wisdom that you all shared will help, but trust me, it's helping ladies around the globe to step into understanding that building relationships can be very beautiful. And as bold, unstoppable women, we can build solid relationships with other bold, unstoppable women. And not only that, we can complement each other so that we are all able to stand in our greatness like the queens that we are. And so all of you watching, if you like the show, please share the show and subscribe to the show with everyone. But also the ladies' information will be in the show notes, the panelists. So please get the, again, subscribing helps you to get all this information. But, if you have to listen to the show again, listen to it again. If you have to watch it again, because the information is, look, I'm going to share a secret with y'all watching and listening to us. If you were to go to a psychologist or psychiatrist, you would be probably paying $1,000 or more plus, if you didn't, your insurance didn't cover it, for the wisdom that was shared by these three wonderful ladies today. So with that being said, I'm just leaving it at that. You got some free advice and you got some free counseling and therapy. And, you can listen to the show again, have a glass of wine, a glass of tea, some water, whatever it is, and really absorb the information and document the nuggets of gold that the guests share. So I want to thank you, Dr. Rosie, my sister from another mother, you, Dr. Deborah, my cousin from another family, I guess, and you, Miss Dr. Whitney Elkins-Hutten, my fellow cohort in the real estate industry. So I don't do a whole lot in that, but I'm going to always be a broker, because you just never know when something happens. You need to do a hustle and get another deal. I want to thank all of you ladies. It's been amazing to have you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your grace. And thank you to all of you for being a part of the Bold Unstoppable show today. And stay tuned, because the next show coming is going to be absolutely fabulous as well, with another set of beautiful panelists. And until then, this is Rochel Marie Lawson, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, and I'm wishing you to be peaceful, tranquil, and authentic in your relationships, in your communication, and building of a network of other bold, unstoppable women. Until next time, goodbye for now.